property management, it's like I said, it's so much like the fire department. When you leave that firehouse and you're going to a run, you do not have any idea what you're about to pull up on. And property management is very similar. When you're going out to assess a house or look at a house or inspect a house, you have no idea what you're about to walk into.
Mhm.
And sometimes it's not always good. And sometimes it can be very traumatizing what you see out there.
Today I'm speaking with Larry Tracy, broker owner at BHB Real Estate Group and Property Management. Larry owns a property management company in Indianapolis that manages over 300 doors. Larry has an interesting story because he started as a firefighter and eventually transitioned into property management. I'll get to the interview so you can start to learn from Larry about his challenges, about his triumphs along the way. I think it's a really interesting interview, and Larry has a lot of great knowledge to share. Larry, thank you so much for joining me today. To kick things off, can you tell everybody a little bit about you, your experience in property management, experience in real estate, anything you think would be relevant for our listeners to know?
All right. My name is Larry Tracy. I'm the owner of BHB Real Estate Group. I've been a real estate broker since 1998. I'm also a firefighter. I've been a firefighter here in Indianapolis, Indiana since 1991. And that is how I got into real estate and property management overall. When I got on the fire department in 91, a lot of the older firefighters kind of took us to the side, telling us about how to best take advantage of the time off from the job, either by being an entrepreneur or going to work another job and building up a whole nother career that way. And the first fire station I was at, three or four of the firefighters was into real estate. I'm basically listening, getting mentored in the real estate. I got it. I fell in love with it. I went and got my real estate license. I was just a firefighter buying investment properties for myself. Then me and another firefighter partnered up. We were fixing properties and putting them back together. One thing led to another. And in 2005, I started property management. And that's how I got into real estate. That's how I got into property management.
So you started first as a broker and then eventually went into property management. Is that
Yes, I got my real estate brokerage with the thinking of investing in real estate.
okay?
I figured the brokerage was only going to help me just from a knowledge base and an understanding of real estate. The more I understood about real estate, the better investor I would be. So I got my real estate license really to be a better investor. I did take on real estate clients as far as helping them buy and sell properties, but my main focus was to start investing.
Okay. And then how did you get to the point where you are now? Because you manage, how many doors do you manage? Can you tell everybody?
Right now, we're at around 320.
Okay. So you managed 320 doors. Back then you had zero.
Zero.
How did you get to the point where, okay, you started off, you were looking just to invest for yourself.
Yep, I started investing
And
for
then,
myself, fixing up houses, and then people, began to ask me, "Hey, can you help me fix this? Hey, can you manage this property for me?" And I was basically like a consultant. Then one thing I did is started trying to manage, and the best thing I ever done was join NARPM. Once I joined NARPM, that basically opened up the door to knowledge, a whole nother knowledge base that was away from just real estate and investing to property managing.
so what did it look like when you opened your doors? How long did it take you to, let's say, to get to your first 100 doors?
Uh, See, when I first joined NARPM, I think I had something like 20 some doors. Now, I was at the NARPM conference and all these people were talking about hundreds and hundreds of doors. So I think I might have been going around saying I had 100 doors, but I think I had about 25 actually. So once I went to NARPM, I started grassroots marketing. I was going by properties that were vacant. Anywhere I seen a for rent sign, I would pull up the information. That's where the real estate brokerage helped me because I had access to MyBoard and MLS. I could find addresses. I would send out information to let them know our property managers. I was calling other real estate brokers and advising them, hey, if you don't property manage, If you need a property manager, I can property management for you, and I will never buy or sell for that client. I'll just property management for them. So then one thing started, 2 units turned into 6 units, turned into 8 units, and it just gradually grew.
Okay. So naturally, it was a lot of networking, a lot of putting yourself out there, getting in front of realtors, letting them know you offer management services, making agreements with them so that so that you won't sell the property if the investor or rental property owner decides that they want to eventually sell, and that eventually got you to 100+ properties.
Yep.
Okay.
Definitely. That's exactly how it really worked. Once I started property management, I really love property management. Is probably one of the most challenging careers I've ever uh, been involved with. But it's so similar to firefighting, because when you're a firefighter, every time you go out, you're going out to fix someone's problem. And property management is very similar. Every time that phone rings, you're about to fix someone else's problem. And the connection between those two really, it really made me feel like, now that I transitioned from firefighting to this,
Mm-hmm.
my mission and purpose is still the same: to help people. Because you can help a lot of people through property management. You really, really can.
Definitely. No, it's something I haven't heard before. Let's say firefighting versus property management, but the way you say it, it makes perfect sense. Like at the end of the day, they're both, if you do them properly,
There you
can be good deeds
That's it.
that are rewarding to both you and the end customer, let's say. Hey, quick break from the interview, just for a second. If you're listening to this podcast, there's a good chance you're looking to grow your property management business. Our team at Upkeep Media is offering a free property management lead generation session to all podcast listeners. Just visit our website at upkeepmedia.com/growth. Fill out the form on that page, enter the coupon code podcast, and you'll sign up for a free property management lead gen session. A team member will reach out to you at the time that you book. During that call, we'll show you what your top local competitors are doing to bring on new properties to manage. We'll take a look at where you're currently positioned online, and then give you actionable strategies that you can use to grow your property management business. Just visit upkeepmedia.com/growth, fill out the form on that page, and we'll speak with you soon. All right, let's get back to the interview. So as you started to scale, you got to 100 doors. What problems did you start to face at that point? And what, let's say, bigger pivots did you have to make so that your company could still operate?
Basically staffing. I think when I first started, I was pretty much like everybody. You're doing everything. You're trying to run the business, you're doing the marketing, you're trying to help outside with the maintenance and the rehab. So you have to then start putting pieces in place, building your team. Now you're trying to put a good office person together. Now you're trying to find a good maintenance person and find a good rehab crew that will do things the way they're supposed to be done. So that was the biggest challenge. As you grow, you take on people, but people, when you actually hire them, they start off well, but things happen in life that makes them, go a different direction, or you think that they're going to be able to do the things that they say, but once they get on, you find out that they can't really do the things that you need them to do. So that's I think that's probably one of the biggest challenges to building a successful property management business is, can you build a successful team? Yeah. If you can't build a successful team, it's going to be really, really hard to be a successful property management business.
In terms of building a successful team, are there any principles you follow when you are putting out the job posting, when you're interviewing? Like, what does that usually look like?
I really look for, to me, there are two types of people. There's sponges and there's bricks. Brick, you can pour water on a brick, and brick absorbs no water. But a sponge will absorb water to the point it will eventually give water back out. And that's how people are. I look for people who are willing to receive information, willing to receive instruction. Once they receive information and instruction, they get to a point that they can now teach someone else. They can give, but a person is really not willing or able to receive information, it's going to be really hard for that person to function successfully within your business structure.
That's fair. And at this point, so you manage over 300 properties. You're still doing firefighting, if I'm not
Man,
mistaken.
I'm really next year officially retired. So
Okay.
that part is really about phased out.
Okay. Well, I know up until around now you were, because at least a year ago you were.
Yes, yes.
Right? So how do you manage a business and be a firefighter at the same time? Like, what does your team look like for you to be able to do that?
Right now I have basically 5 employees in house. And I have 4 maintenance personnel that are doing maintenance work orders 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I have 2 rehab crews that are doing everything from top to bottom full scale rehab to maybe just needs a kitchen bathroom remodel, maybe just needs a paint and cleanup. Just depends on what the property needs to be brought to a rent ready condition. I have an office operations manager. She's been with me 10 years. She is amazing. And this is the thing, when I go to NARPM, they are amazed that my whole staff, Steve, is current or former tenants.
Oh, really?
A whole office now. They started out either as tenants or now they moved on and got their own place, but they are current or former tenants.
Okay.
And
So how did that relationship come to be? Was it you met them when they were
yep,
renting one of the properties?
and that's exactly it. And it goes back to what I was saying earlier. I seen if they were a young, basically high energy, really a hard worker. Uh, if they were good tenants, did things right on that end, you knew they had the ability to do other things. They just need basically instruction and guidance and an opportunity. So I look for people who are really doing things right on the tenant side, being good tenants, paying rent on time, basically taking care of property, doing things like that. That is a very good sign of a person who has the ability to do many other things if given opportunity.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I don't think I've ever spoke to a property manager that found his staff through his tenants, but it is a reflection of, are they organized? Are they paying their rent on time? Are they taking
Yes,
care of the property well?
definitely.
It won't always translate 100%, but there's a lot of good indicators there that that individual is well put together, that they're respectful, that they
Yeah.
are prompt, right? So
Yes.
that's
Now,
no, that's one I haven't heard about before, and that's not something that most people have access to through a job board.
you at least know they have a foundation. Now it's kind of up to, I kind of look at it after that point, it's up to me to give the instruction because they have no property management experience.
Hmm.
So basically, sometimes people with previous experience are more difficult to train than someone who has no experience because this person has a lot of previous experience and it doesn't always mean it was right.
Yeah.
So they're trying to bring things that may not have been right and implement them into your system and they won't work. Whereas this person only knows what you give them.
Yeah. If they're coming from a management company that's providing really poor quality service,
Yes.
to them, they think this is the way you do it. Then they get there and you're like, whoa, this is terrible. So definitely. Uh,
Exactly. That's the problem. That's
yeah.
definitely it right there.
So you now have 5 full-time staff.
Hmm.
What does your day-to-day look like? Like, what does a typical workday look like for you as the founder?
Right now, day to day, I'm still, the office basically can operate the day to day of the property management itself. I'm basically making sure all those things that are supposed to happen on a day to day basis are happening: move ins, move outs, rent collections, evictions, courts, all those things. So my day starts off with meetings with the office operations manager and assistant manager to make sure we're all on the same page, reviewing email. Now I'm basically on the outside. I'm the one who still takes care of scopes and estimates because that's probably the hardest part to get someone to do and trust that they're going to do it right because that part impacts the owners probably more than anything. If they're receiving very high maintenance and rehab costs, it is really hard to make their bottom line work.
Hmm.
And at the end of the day, these are investment properties, so they're supposed to generate an income. So that part, if not done right, can really impact the owner probably more than anything else. On top of just vacancy itself. but that maintenance rehab part is essential to making the property successful. So I'm still doing a lot of the scopes and the estimates over here for the crews to do the work.
Got it. Okay. And who's taking care of business development, like the sales? Is that still you, or do you
It's
have
still me. I mean, the thing, a lot of it is, I'll be honest, that's where upkeep has, I mean, I'm telling you, just like I said, Northam was probably the best thing for me as getting in the property management side and getting the knowledge base over there. From a marketing stock standpoint, Stephen, I spent many years getting proposals from companies that could do SEO and we'll do this and we'll do that, but they never had any skin in the game. It was always me pay a ton of money and they never really, no promises or anything, just try us out. Upkeep was the first company that I had ran across, whereas and I met them through NARPM, but I had probably 3 to 5 referrals from property managers at NARPM speaking highly of Upkeep and what they had done for them. So it you know, the pathway to Upkeep was almost, it was like meant to be. I mean, it was like, hey, this person said, yes, that's the right, hey, you're going to make a great decision. And I have to say, from a marketing sales standpoint, Upkeep has been unbelievable. Unbelievable.
awesome? Really, really appreciate that. That was not solicited, so thank you so much. Um, for once the lead comes in, is it you that's handling the sales calls?
I handle the initial. Yeah, I'm the one who handles the initial communication. Me or my assistant operation manager. One of us will handle the initial communication. Like this morning, I talked to a new tenant prospect. I'll basically lay out how BHB operates, what the differences are between using BHB compared to another property manager here, what we can actually do for them, what all we do for them. And then from that point, they'll get a PMA and then they basically get turned over to either the office operations manager, assistant manager, and they'll guide them through filling out the property management agreement, and then we'll go assess the property and all the things that happen to actually bring them on board.
So can we talk about that just in a little bit more detail? So the let's say a call comes through,
Mm-hmm.
it's either yourself or your assistant office manager.
Mm-hmm.
Um, do you normally try to get them to sign up on that first call, or on that first call, are you asking them questions and then setting up another call or another in-person meeting? What does that process look like?
That first call is always, that's my opportunity to not only tell them what BHB will do for them, but it's also my chance to differentiate myself from the other property managers they may. Because most people are going to talk to more than just you. They're going to talk to, 2 or 3 to hear the sales pitches of 2 or 3 property managers. So that's my chance as information. I'm basically letting them know all of how we operate, the terms that we operate by, their cost basis, and I have it set up to where there's 3 to 4 things due to my research of the market that I'm going to give them that we do differently than other property managers. Now, I never talk negatively about any property manager because property management is too tough a business. Anybody can make mistakes. And I tell them all, we make mistakes. Mistakes happen. One thing I can assure you is that if a mistake is made, we're going to address it and deal with it, and we'll make it right. But that is, I don't try to get them to sign on. I don't do a pressure campaign. My first initial communication is an information. That's a chance for information exchange.
So basically, that first call, you are speaking to them about how you guys are different, how you can help.
Yep.
From there, like, if somebody speaks to you,
Mm-hmm.
they don't really follow back up, what's your follow-up process look like?
Now, what happens is I'm going to give them, one thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to give them a sample PMA for their review. So a lot of times in our conversation, they request, hey, can you give me those? Do you have a property management agreement? Even if they don't ask for it, I'll let them know, hey, I'm going to send you a sample property management agreement for your review. And I will follow up with you to see if you have any questions or concerns or any other things that you might want to present at that time. So I'll usually give them 24 to 48 hours to review it, and then I'll retouch base back with them, either through email, phone call, or however they have let me know they want to be communicated with. If they prefer text, email, phone call, everybody's life is different. Some people travel a lot, so emails, text work better than phone call. Just depends on how they want to be communicated with, and then I follow back up with.
Okay. Roughly, how long do you see it go from the point of initial communication to the point where they're signing the PMA? Like time, like in terms of, is it usually a couple days, couple weeks, couple months?
I'll be honest, Steve, and truly, I can almost tell from the first conversation if they're going to sign on with us. Most of the time, that in what I present, I basically present enough information. When I say, "Hey, do you have any question for me?" and I get, "No, you pretty much answered all of my questions." That was pretty thorough. I pretty much know that person there is going to sign on with us because I just did information wise what I wanted to do. I answered all of their questions, even without them really having to specifically ask questions. So I know I pretty much fulfilled all of the things that they want to know and what they're looking for. Uh, so I very seldom do I get off the phone with someone and not have a good idea if they're going to sign on.
Okay. Got it. In terms of clientele, do you prefer working with people that have multiple properties? Do you prefer the kind of call it accidental landlord, maybe has one, possibly two properties? What is your preference?
With our portfolio is so diversified. Far as we have A properties all the way down to D property. Indianapolis market is it's a very hot market. It's a very competitive market. We have multifamily. My experience, Steve, I like working with owners who have experience in investing, and they have managed their own at some point in time because they are so much more realistic as to what all you have to do for them to make their unit successful. When they have done it, they understand the challenges that come along with and all the different parts you have to make work for their property to be successful. They are so much more appreciative of when you do a good job
Okay.
because they've done it, and there's a reason they're wanting to transfer it over at that time.
Yeah.
So
They know it's not a walk.
they know it's not just a simple make a couple of phone calls and things happen. They understand the dynamics of what needs to happen. So a lot of times your investor who has never uh, actually managed their property, for one, they got all the excitement of investing and they think it's all going to make all this money. And when the things don't start to work out right, now we begin to put blame on, begin to put blame places
Yeah,
because we really don't understand what all it takes to make this happen.
for sure. It's it's one thing when you just hire someone to do a job you've never done. To them, it's like, why does this cost whatever it costs? You're like, well, it took this many hours to do that, but to them, they're not thinking like that. Whereas if it's
Yes,
someone that's actually done it before, they understand. Okay, they
yes,
had to go to the property, they had to call this person, they had to
yes.
coordinate that. So it's
Yes.
it's a little bit easier, I guess, to speak with them because they've done it before. They just realize like this is not for me, and I need to get help to do it.
Oh yeah,
Right?
yeah, yeah. And they are very good critics of your business because they've done it. So when I hear them say things, whether it be positive or negative, you definitely want to keep on doing the positive. But then when you hear the negative, those are things you definitely know you need to look at and correct.
Makes sense. So during your time in property management, you've obviously been in property management now for a number of years. What is one crazy experience or story you can share with us?
Oh, I've had it all. I've had tragedy where you went into a house to do basically a check on a person because they haven't paid, you haven't heard from them, and you go in and find that a tragic situation has occurred and some tragic has happened to that person. and now you're a part of it because your company is the one that went there and actually found the person, and now you gotta, you're in a situation where you're answering questions and just uh to like, I mean, right now I got a situation, the worst roach infestation I've ever seen in my life. I mean, the absolute worst. It's so bad that we got to wait. The basic exterminator has told us to wait 2 weeks before anyone re-enters the property.
Crazy. Crazy.
I've never seen roaches come out of the lock. You unlock the door and they're coming out of the locks.
Jesus. Yeah, so that's something you don't want to have to deal with.
Yes, I mean, property management, it's like I said, it's so much like the fire department. When you leave that firehouse and you're going to a run, you do not have any idea what you're about to pull up on. And property management is very similar. When you're going out to assess a house or look at a house or inspect a house, you have no idea what you're about to walk into. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's not always good. And sometimes it can be very traumatizing what you see out there.
Yeah. In terms of your own personal security or your staff's personal security when they do go out to a property, do you have any protocols in place for that?
Yes. They have to make, they have to text when they're there. They have to text when they leave. If inspectors, if someone's doing a showing, they don't have to go into the property with the tenant prospect. They just have to open the door. They stay outside. They let the tenant prospect go look at the house. They come outside. They can answer questions outside. Mm-hmm. Then they don't go and lock the door till the tenant prospect has left. Then they lock the door and they text back that showing is over, headed back to the office. So that's each and every, whether it be an inspection, showing anything outside, there's a lot of communication that happens for us to know that they made it there safely and they're leaving safely.
Okay. So property management, obviously a business that's very closely tied to real estate.
Mm-hmm.
For your personal investing, are you buying rental properties? What do you do with your, the cash flow that you make from property management?
I'm still an active investor myself. I'm still buying and selling, occasionally flipping. I do that's the core of my business, even from the start. That's what I really started out as, is investing. I wanted to be an investment in real estate. So I've created a very nice portfolio for myself, but I'm expanding that, Stephen. I have dreams of, I got 4 children. They're all grown, and I have 4 grandchildren now. And my goal is to leave them a solid foundation to begin the process of developing and growing generational wealth from this point moving forward.
That's awesome. Do you primarily invest in single family homes, in multiplexes? What does your portfolio look like?
I have multi units. I have primarily single family. I have a couple of commercial properties. What I look for, I don't care if it's a 20 unit or a 2 unit. I really look for units that have the potential to generate cash flow. So I always do my numbers based on what I got to pay for it and what I put in and what's going to bring back. It's all, real estate to me is nothing but a big math problem. The math problem either says yes or the math problem says no. So I look for properties that are either going to create monthly cash flow or they're going to create an appreciation value. It's an area that's really appreciating. I can buy it now. I might not make a lot on monthly cash flow at this time, but in 5 years, I'm going to be able to sell it for 50, 100, 150% more than what I purchased.
Yeah. Are you buying specifically in Indianapolis, like your local area, or do you also?
Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at right now. There are a few areas I've looked at as far as expanding to, but Indianapolis has stayed so consistently popular and hot in there. The market, like right now, it's a buyer's market. So there's a lot of inventory out there to potentially purchase.
Yeah,
So
you are in a good market for that, for sure.
yes, yes, it is. And it's Midwest. We don't have our properties here don't appreciate 300%. But guess what? The bottom doesn't fall out. They don't depreciate 100% over. You know, we get gradual appreciation, but the bottom never falls out. It might appreciate 5 to 10%, but you don't lose. You're not going to lose if you buy right. I tell all owner prospects, if you buy right, it's hard to get it wrong. But if you buy wrong, sometimes it's impossible to get it right.
Makes sense. So if you could go back in time to when you started your journey in property management, what is the one thing that you would do quicker or earlier to help yourself succeed at a faster pace?
I think the biggest thing I would have done is probably done more investigating organizations and joining organizations faster. Because once you get around like-minded people, like I said, NARPR, once you get around organizations and people of like mind, it's amazing amazing ideas people have that you can take to make work for yourself. So instead of doing it all alone for so many years, I probably would have looked for organizations immediately to join, to begin to get the knowledge base so much faster, and would have been able to grow and succeed so much faster.
That makes sense. I mean, being around like-minded people that have possibly been in it for longer, that have done things in their market that worked well, that you can take back to your market. There's definitely a lot of benefits you can get from being in organizations with other people that are walking the same path that you're on.
Definitely.
So without a doubt, that's one of the things we hear most commonly.
I think fighting it, you're doing it, but you're doing it alone. So you're making a lot of mistakes just because you don't know, and you don't have all the ideas of how to do it a better way. Rather than make all those mistakes, it's not that you're not going to make mistakes, but you could probably reduce your mistakes 50 to 75%. If I'm just with these people who say, don't do it that way, you need to do it this way. And it would cut out a lot of time and a lot of mistakes that you don't have to make.
Definitely. Larry, thank you so much for your time. Really, really appreciate it. I know you're a busy guy, so really appreciate you taking the time out of your day.
Thank you.
For anyone that's listening that would like to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to do so?
They can either go to our website, bhbnd.net. They could call me direct, or they can go to my email. The website was the best way, bhbnd.net, and it's going to take them where they can communicate, they can ask questions, they need consulting, they need advice. They can get it all through just simple communication, very easily, very user-friendly. And that's the best way to basically reach out to me or the business as an host.
Awesome. Thank you, Larry.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Take care.